All right, guys, let's do a whole bunch of examples on the inside of this one here. So I'm actually going to start with the top two flaps. So what I think is a really good idea is that maybe you go try some of these and then like watch the video up until you see those ones and maybe go try some more. And as long as you're starting to feel pretty good about it, you don't have to do all of them. Just do as many as you need. But I would do it so that you're like testing yourself a little bit. Although, stick around for this first because this is a 64 right here. That's kind of hard to read. It got chopped off. So this is a 64. And then this is a 30. And that's a 5. But other than that, I think we should be able to read it all. And then I'll jump down to the second half and I'll timestamp that. Alrighty, so if I look at these first two, the biggest number that they have in common is an 8. And unfortunately, they don't have any letters in common. And so then inside parentheses, now I'm going to think 8 times what is 64? Minus 8 times what is 40? And then AB. Now, guys, you can always know that you're done by checking the inside. And as long as those numbers don't have anything in common, then you know you got the biggest. Like 8 and 5 don't have anything in common. Moving right along, if I look at these ones, the biggest number that they have in common is 5. And the best I can do for letters is I can take one A and one D. Because this has 2 and that has 2, but this only has 1 for me to take of each. Now, when I think 5 times what gets me back to 5, that's 1. And I do need the placeholder there, even though I took the A and the D. Because I need to multiply back to get that same number. So like if you fully take everything out, you have to put a 1 there as a placeholder. Then I think 5 times what's going to get me 30. And then I took 1A, so there's 1 left, and I took 1D, so there's 1D left. Moving right along, when I look at these numbers, the biggest number that I can take I think is 5. We'll try that. As far as x's go, I can only take 2 because this one doesn't have any more for me to take. And as far as y's go, I can only take 1. Even though that guy has 2, I can only take 1. Okay, so then I think 5 times what gets me 30, and that's 6. I took 2 x's, so 1's left. I took 1 y, so none are left. Plus 5 times what gets me 35? That's 7. And then I took both x's, and I only took 1 y, so 1 y is left. And again, I can look inside here and see that they have nothing in common, so I know I got the biggest. All right, moving up here, as far as numbers go, they have a 4 in common. They don't have any letters in common, so we'll have d squared plus 4. Here, as far as numbers go, I think 8 times 4 is 32, right? Oh my word. And you can't answer me, and I have to get my calculator, and this is going to take me a second. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. 4 times 8 is 32. Sometimes even I don't know. It's okay. So yeah, I think 8 is going to be the biggest number that we have in common here. And they don't have any letters in common. So 8 times 4 is 32. And then a squared plus 8 times 3 is 24. And then b squared. And 4 and 3 don't have anything in common, so I know I got the biggest. Next, 75 and 60. Maybe just 5. Let's try 5. If we goof it up together, that's okay. We'll get a better one. So 5 comes out, 1b and 3 g's. So 5 times what is 75? Or I can think about like dividing. Like 5 goes into 75 15 times. And I took 1b, so there's 1b left. And I took all the g's plus 5 goes into 60 15 times. No, 12 times. Oh boy, these got something else in common. And I took a B and I took all the G's. Yeah, now I'm thinking 15 and 12, they got 3 in common. That's all right. This is good that we made this mistake together. So, like, because 3 goes into 15 and 3 goes into 12, they still have something in common. And so I'm going to take the 3 out along with the 5 I already took out. So because I already have a 5 out there and I'm going to take a 3 out there as well, that means 15 b g to the third is really the biggest. See, it's okay if we goof up. We can just fix it. I'm not just saying that to make myself feel better here. And now that I took the 3 out of here, I really have 5b left, plus I took the 3 out there, 4. So that really should be our final answer, because I always want to take the greatest common factor out. All right, we can do it with trinomials as well. Now we just got to look at 3 numbers, which should make finding the biggest easier, honestly. Although I say that and these numbers are big, but I think 7 is the best we can do there. And then I can take the smallest amount of t's, so t to the third, and 7 times 2 gets me back, and I took all the t's. 7 times 6, and I need 2 t's, and 7 times 7, and I need 1 t. And again, I know that's the biggest now because 2, 6, and 7, they don't have anything in common. All right, moving right along. The biggest number that they all have in common is 1. Like 14 and 28 have something in common, but this is just a 1. So I can take a 1 out, but that's silly. And then as far as y's go, I can take a y out. And so really I'm just taking 1y or y out. And then we'll have 14y to the second minus 28y plus, I do have to have this as a placeholder, so I have to put a 1, because if I start with a trinomial, I have to end with a trinomial. Alrighty, looking down here, numbers first. Best I can do is a 5. X is next. I can only take 1. And I can't take any y's because this guy doesn't have any for me to take. So 5 times 3 is 15, and I have 2 x's left and 2 y's left. Plus 5 times 2 is 10, and I took 1 x, so 1 x left, and I didn't take any y's, so there's a y left. And 5 times 5 is 25, and I took that x, so nothing left number-wise. And I know that's the biggest because 3, 2, and 5 don't have anything in common. Ooh, I like this one. 11 is the biggest number that they have in common. And then as far as p goes, I can take 2 at most. And then 11 times 5 gets me 55, and I took both those p's. Minus 11 times 1, and you can put the 1 there, it's okay, gets me 11, and I took 2 of those p's, so there are 2 left. You can also not put the 1 there, and that's fine. 11 times 4 is 44, and I took 2 p's, so there are 3 left. All right, we're doing good. Looking at these numbers, 8, 24, 16, I think the biggest I can take is 8. I always try to look at the smallest number and see if that will go into all of them, because that'd be really cool if it did. Like even here, the 14, 42, and 49, but I knew 14 wouldn't go into 49, so. But yeah, 8 will go into all of those, so 8 will come out. As far as p's go, I can take 1. And as far as r's go, I can take 1. Now my inside number is still going to be a trinomial, so 8 times 1 gets me 8, and I took 1 p and 1 r, so there's 1 of each of those left. Minus 8 times 3 gets me the 24, and I took 1 p, so none left, and I took 1 r, so 2 left, plus 8 times 2 is 16, and I took the p and the r, so no letters left. Last one up here. When I look at all the numbers, I was hoping 9 would go in. It goes into the 18, but not the 24. The only other thing that goes into 9 is 3. Oh yeah, and 3 will go into 18. So 3 is our GCF there. And they don't have A, B's, and C's in common, but they do have an XL in common. So 3 times 3 will get me 9. I have an A and 2 X's left. 3 times 6 will get me 18. I have a B and an X left. And 3 times 8 will get me 24, and I have a C left. Alrighty, this is the point in the video where I'm going to timestamp, and now we're going to talk about our 4-term factoring, or factor by grouping. Okay, so if we look at all of these ones down here, we're going to want to group the first 2, group the last 2, and look for the GCF, look for the twin, and then factor one more time. So looking at these 2, they have an X in common, and we'll have X plus 4 left. Looking at those 2, they have a 2 in common, and we'll have X plus 4 left. Because this first number and the second number have that twin, or that X plus 4, I write down the twin, and then I write down what's left. So X plus 2. Okay, moving right across. If I look at this first 2 here, they don't have a number in common, but they do have an A in common. So 2A plus 3. These 2 don't have a letter in common, but they do have a 3 in common. And we'll have 2A plus 3 left. A twin. So I write down the twin. And then I like to cross it out because I write down the twin once, and then whatever's left goes in the other side. So A plus 3. I know I didn't say it, but I was like doing it. And I just kind of do that because once I write the twin down, I'm done with it. All right. If I look at the first 2 here, they have 4 and a B in common. And so 4 times 1 gets me back to 4. And I took a B, so a B is left. Minus 4 times 3 is 12, and I took that B. Now looking at those 2, they really just have a 2 in common. So B minus 3, twins. So I write down my twins, and then I write down what's left, 4B plus 2. All right, going back over here. If I look at the first 2, we have, hopefully this didn't get chopped off, but that looks like a 6 to me. I think the best I can do is 2x in common, so 3y minus 4. And then when I look at these 2, I think a 5 is all I have in common. 3y minus 4, twins. Yes. So I write down the twin, and then I write what's left, so 2x plus 5. And guys, I guess I should say too, if you don't get a twin, that might mean that you did something wrong, but it also might mean that they just don't factor, and that could happen. All right, looking at these 2, let's see. I think 2m. If I take a 2m out, I'm going to have negative 3p plus 2. And then when I look at these 2, I think the best I can do is take a 6 out. And that is 3p minus 2. Oh no. My twins aren't twins, but they are really close. Like they're the same numbers. My signs are just different. Oh. On that first one, if I had taken out a negative 2m instead, like if I take a negative out of this, it becomes positive. And if I take a negative out of that, I have to leave a negative behind for a double negative. And then it is a twin. So like literally I just said sometimes you won't get twins and maybe you goofed up. So maybe the goof up is you needed to take out a negative. Or it could just be that they legit don't have twins. But this one I could take out the negative and that solved my twin problem. So I write down the twin. And then I write down what's left, so negative 2m plus 6. Ugh, sneaky. Lastly, if I look at these first two, I think 3a is the most they have in common, so we'll have 4a minus 5b. And then these two, if I take a 4 out, I'm going to have negative 4a and then plus 5b, which again, they're not exactly twins. So I think I actually need to make this a negative 4. So that can change to a positive, and this can change to a negative, and then I have twins. So negatives can be tricky. My twins are 4a minus 5b, and what I have left is a 3a and then a negative 4. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.